Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to an episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 141 today for the Singapore Grand Prix in Season 7. If you guys did miss the previous one, the Italian Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But heading to this episode, then obviously the Twilight Under the Floodlights night race of Singapore, the longest race on the calendar as well. We've got a few upgrades for the bottom teams actually there. It's really hard to see now because Force India, Haas, Williams and Ferrari are so intertwined, but I believe that is Ferrari actually finally getting off the bottom of the performance chart and being ahead of Force India and Haas just about there. I think Williams are just ahead of Ferrari still, but that bottom fight is really quite close. Then you've got a bit of a bigger gap then to Toro Rosso, and then an even bigger gap to McLaren, who are now level pegging with us on the performance chart. So we are technically just about the fourth best team on the grid, but we could easily be the fifth best, right bang in the middle. So like I said in a couple of last episodes, you know, the challenge for us trying to take this title versus Pierre Gasly, who looks like it's seemingly, as we go through the episodes now, it's seeming like more of a two-horse race between myself and Gasly, which is quite funny. I mean, no matter what the game or series, it seems myself and Pierre Gasly in the F1 game keep on coming together as championship rivals here. So him in the Red Bull Honda, myself in the Alfa Romeo Sauber, because it seems like the two Renaults are just going further and further away. And as well as that, the two Mercedes, who technically should be right up there now, fighting for these race wins because they've got the best car on the grid now since the halfway stage of the season. They're still not really fully turning up and doing the job really, and Gasly has done. Obviously he won 2 races in a row at Belgium and Italy, so today we need to try and do anything to break his streak. It's going to be very tough though, because obviously historically Singapore has been a very Red Bull circuit, and the Sauber car, you know, like I said, it's maxed out. It's at that point where really honestly it's track to track how it performs, and honestly I just can't tell. In Q1 we got through to Q2 relatively okay, but still a little bit worried at how much time he lost to the top guys, but hopefully that was just a Q1 sort of thing with the simulation times of the AI. But the car wasn't particularly feeling amazing, but it wasn't feeling horrendous as well, I'll say that. So I think we can do an okay job, but it's really going to be about the race and what happens there. I need to pray and hope that some sort of miracle happens in terms of Gasly being held up by traffic, or just can't qualify as well in Q3, or we just need to do something clever on this strategy to try and take the fight to him, because we need to break the streak. Whether it be just us stopping him winning somehow, even if we can't beat him in the race, we need to stop him winning a 3rd race in a row. Otherwise, that pretty much is going to be kind of like a nail in the coffin in terms of, you know, the momentum he's building up and the championship lead he'll have at that stage of the season, with only, you know, a finite amount of races left in the season. So we go through into the top 10 shootout, thankfully made it through into Q3, and so now we go for 2 runs here. The first one, pretty neat actually, a pretty good lap I felt. I think the track definitely evolved a little bit and rubbered in, because the car was feeling a bit more grippy in the corner, especially sector 2, the car felt a bit more planted than it ever did, especially compared to that Q1 run, which was very raw indeed, but still a little bit of oversteer and understeer here and there, and I can tell that we're going to be losing some time in the corners, and if not the corners, the straights, because I've had to run quite high wings to try and get the downforce in this Sauber car. So on the straights in race conditions, there might be a few cars that maybe try and waltz past us with DRS if we get to that kind of point in the race, but we're going to go for a second lap then. At the moment we're actually up in P3, so I was very happy about that. Verstappen behind us in P4 right now, Hamilton ahead. I don't quite know actually who's on provisional pole yet. I know it's not Gasly at the moment, so at least I've got that going for me. I think the 2 Mercedes cars are looking quite good, but for now we need to try and push on. Hamilton though goes fastest then. Sainz has now improved. We're down to P5 on the grid across the line for our second run. We do improve by a little bit, and that is good enough to get us 1 more position back up into P4 there, ahead of Carlos Sainz, ahead of Verstappen, but Pierre Gasly just pips us to P3 there. But it's a 1-2 lockout for Mercedes, so I've got to hope now the Mercs can actually turn up and convert this quali pace into race pace, and they can both just run away with 1 and 2, and I can try and do something and go 1-1 with Gasly for P3 maybe, and try and beat him, because if Gasly has the race pace to try and take those 2 Mercs, then we're going to have a tricky situation here. But very strange, my teammate did not set a lap time. I didn't know what went on with that exactly. I don't know if he had a mistake or got crashed out of the session. I'm not too sure about that, but we'll just have to deal with it then and go into this race. To be honest, he's not really in my mind, to be honest. He's not in the championship fight. It's all just on Gasly at the moment. It is a 2-horse race now, no matter how you want to look at it compared to the performance chart and whatnot. So we've got to do the job. We've got to try and do something to be a thorn in Gasly's side. Let's go to the grids and try and do that.
As the sun sets over the South China Sea, the sport that never sleeps is alert and raring to go. Welcome, under the bright lights of the Marina Bay Circuit, to another Singapore Grand Prix. It's a very long, very physical lap, this one, and really there's not much in the way of margin for error. So we have a bit of an endurance race for you tonight. The Marina Bay Street Circuit then has 23 corners, 13 to the left and 10 to the right, taking us a total of 3.1 miles around the landmarks of downtown Singapore. An average lap speed around here, just 107 miles per hour. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about the engineer. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
And so with that, let's have a look at the full starting grid ahead of this Singapore Grand Prix for Season 7 of my F1 2018 career. And on pole position then is the Brit in the Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, and locking out a front row with Mercedes' his teammate Nico Hülkenberg in second place. Then third place goes to Pierre Gasly, my championship rival, alongside myself in P4. That's going to be a very important fight today. Carlos Sainz VERSTAPPEN next with Fernando, Alonso and Brendan Hartley following in P8. Dan Ricciardo P9 with Charles Leclerc P10. Vettel high P11 with Van Dorn P12. Perez and Magnussen next, then Valtteri Bottas and MONACO on the next row. Lance Stroll P17, Kimi Räikkönen 18th place, and around the last row of the grid is Sergei Sorokin and Romain Grosjean with a grid penalty ahead of the night race here at Singapore. Right, so here we are on the grid then for a very long race ahead of us here at Singapore, and we know what the job is. There is only one job today. It's trying to beat the man on the right-hand side of us, Pierre Gasly, our one and only championship rival, really, because realistically, I don't think the two Renaults are coming back into this unless they have a miracle 1-2 for the rest of the season here. But we've got the two Mercedes on the front row. Hopefully, they can be a kind of integral cog at helping this plan here today. It's going to be a two-stop, so even with the even with the kind of improved tyre wear on all these cars, the race is so long that it's still a two-stop here on two sets of ultras after this short stint of hypers, which will go off very quickly around Singapore with the hot temperatures. So here we go then to 5 red lights. So the night race, the Singapore Grand Prix, and it's a very crucial one today for the championship. 5 red lights are out and we're underway, and it's a fantastic start for Gasly and not myself, and he's going down the inside to make it 3 wide with the Mercedes cars, and he's managed to find his way through. Pierre Gasly just keeps on getting better and better in this season. 2 wins on the trot, and now merely in a split second, it's taken him 2 corners of the Singapore Grand Prix, but he's in the lead of the Singapore race. Absolutely unbelievable. Hulkenberg second place. Hamilton's been pushed down to P4. We managed to overtake him, so at least that's one thing going for us. We're up into P3, but now we've got Hulkenberg to contend with before we try and chase after Gasly, but that is horrendous. That is literally the opposite of what I needed. Gasly sliced through the Mercedes cars like a hot knife through butter, like they weren't even there. And now my teammate Leclerc, struggling after qualifying in P10, is battling Ricciardo as they go side by side for a very long time. They're Ricciardo on the outside. Hartley's actually doing a great job to be ahead of both of those guys. Ricciardo really putting a shift down the inside there where the Singapore sling used to be, as they now go under the little bridge tunnel section into the hairpin, and Ricciardo has overtaken Leclerc, so Leclerc's struggling with the car at the moment. Meanwhile, lap 2, I'm actually finding some decent pace right now to catch up and close up on Hulkenberg and keep the German honest in the Mercedes car. But all the while, already, take a look at the minimap, how much Gasly has already pulled in less than 1 lap since he got the lead of the race. Move on to lap 3, the gap's got even bigger on the minimap. That is just absolutely ridiculous. Gasly is a man on a mission as of late in this championship, and I can't get close enough to Hulkenberg. I'm getting close with DRS there on lap 3, but it's just not enough to overtake him. Again in lap 4 through the first few turns, getting right up the gearbox of the German, but I just don't have the straight line speed to overtake him down this main straight, because like I said, I had to run higher wings to keep up with my rivals in the corners, but that means I've compromised my straight line speed. And so on this straight, DRS open, we're getting ever closer to Hulkenberg. I have a little bit of a look, but in the end, alas, it's just not going to be anything. And so a very frustrating part of the race here, not being able to overtake the German, and all the while I can see on the minimap Gasly getting away. And so actually later on that lap, my engineer says I should come in on this lap rather than lap 5, so 1 lap earlier than I was scheduled to come in. And I agree with him, because usually in the past the undercut has been pretty powerful around Singapore, even going to a slower set of ultra soft tyres compared to the hypers, because they go off so quickly with the kind of higher tyre deck around Singapore. So we're in now for that pit stop onto ultras 1 lap earlier, and here's hoping we can try an undercut and jump Hulkenberg. If we can, that's going to be splendid, and then we'll just push on with clean air hopefully to try and do anything to chase after Gasly. That's all we can do, but I can't lie, after the amount of pace Gasly's shown the last 2 episodes when he's in clean air in first place, the Mercedes guys haven't ever caught him when they're in second and third trying to chase him. I don't know if I can really catch him, so we're going to have to really hope and pray maybe for a safety car or something like that to try and close it up maybe. But as we go through the last corner then on towards lap 6, here we go then. Where is Hulkenberg? That turquoise dot on the left-hand side on the mini-map. There we are, Hulkenberg. We are ahead of him. He is behind us on the top left there, and we have jumped him successfully. So the undercut has worked, an absolute treat. And so effectively, we're in a net P2. We're now tucked up behind a slower Williams car here, who's still going on an ultra. So we push past him very aggressively, a little bit harshly, yes, I will admit, but he is a very slow car, and he's not in our race. He needs to get out the damn way, because we're racing this man Gasly now to see how much time we can maybe gain on him, as he went one lap even longer than Hulkenberg. So I pit lap 4, Hulkenberg pit lap 5. Now this is Gasly on lap 6, on to lap 7, pitting. And so where are we going to be? How much time have we potentially gained on this undercut? Let's have a look. As Gasly goes down the pit lane, he's on to a set of ultra tires as well, so I suspect he's doing the exact same strategy as us, our hyper to 2 sets of ultras. There goes the Frenchman now out the pit lane. Where are we going to be? Look to the left-hand side. There we go, into turn 1. Bit of an awkward camera angle, but I think we are side by side. No, we're ahead. We're ahead of Pierre Gasly. The undercut of absolute dreams, absolute madness of an undercut. And we've just gained about 5 seconds, I think, in that. So that's how much the ultra soft tyres are better than a set of worn hyper softs. They've really gone off for Gasly. And so Red Bull have called that completely wrong. We've jumped 2 cars then and gone from P3 to a net P1 in this Grand Prix. There's obviously a few cars ahead of us that are yet to pit in this Grand Prix because they're on ultras, like the likes of the Ferrari Raikkonen. But still, absolutely amazing. We've undercut Gasly. That is the exact thing we needed. I was so down and lacking motivation after seeing Gasly slice through the Mercedes cars. But now we're back in this, baby. We go around the outside of Raikkonen with a very tasty move on the outside of turn 2. I've got my mojo back. I've got the confidence back. And now I'm driving with some real purpose and positivity here, because now we're in the lead, we're in the control, it's a street race, and we know we can try and defend and try and keep Gasly at bay. And obviously we now know if we pit a little bit earlier again on the second pit stop, we should get ahead of Gasly once again and maintain this P1 as we go down the inside of the Williams for what is P5 on the road right now. But remember, it will be a net P1 eventually as we catch up to all these traffic cars. We're now up into P3 across the line on lap 11 now. Vettel, the second Ferrari, needs to try and catch an overtake here. Can't quite do it in the first few corners, I don't think. We're going to have to wait until the back straight maybe. And the Ferrari car is just so slow. You can tell the difference mid-corner there. The Sauber's got much more pace, and he goes very slow and very much blocks me off there. So I don't know if that's anything personal with Vettel. I don't think so. We never had too much bad blood, myself and Sebastian, from our Ferrari days. And so we're up into P2 on the road. Van Dorn is leading the Grand Prix in the Toro Rosso Honda, but he'll pit in soon enough, and so he will take the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix as we move on to lap number 12. A little bit wayward there, that's fine. But up into P1, Gasly P2 now. And so, like I said, we've got a few seconds on him as well. But even if he catches up to us, we know we can try and do some defensive work and try and defend against him. Meanwhile, it's been a calamity for Hulkenberg, who was in P3. He's now last place, chasing after those that pack of the Force India. So I don't know what that was about. On lap 17, the yellow flags of Grosjean helped me out a little bit as he retires from the Grand Prix. And that helps me out keep Gasly at bay as he does close up to us and is keeping us honest at this stage, where we've only got 1 lap left to go before we come in for our second pit stop. Gasly will continue on for 1 more lap, so again we'll have the undercut advantage. So even if he gets a bit of clean air now and can push on a little bit faster, I will be faster than his faster lap on the fresh set of ultras, if that makes any sense. Bit of a tongue twister there, but we come in now for that second pit stop, and I'm just so still happy and ecstatic at this point. Such a happy mood. As soon as I saw Gasly going slow down that pit lane exit, got into turn 1 ahead of him, oh, it was just absolute euphoria, because I thought I was down and out for the count. I was ready to wave the white flag. We're not going to win the Grand Prix. We're not going to get ahead of Gasly. He's going to get a further 7 points ahead of us. We can't do it. But now we've got a real shot at winning this Singapore Grand Prix, getting our 3rd win of the season under our belt. And Gasly will, obviously decrease by 7 points his lead in the championship. So we watch him now go down the pit lane. And again, we watch to where we're going to be. That same camera angle, that kind of shoulder shot. But there we are into turn 1 and 2. And we're even further ahead of Gasly than we were before. We've got a great lead ahead of the Frenchman and our championship rival. So all the cards are falling into place. 3rd place is Hamilton. Then we've got 4th and 5th is Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso. So Verstappen, who was fighting the Renaults before, has fallen away quite considerably. And Vettel, who I said was going quite slow, is actually doing a fantastic job. He's in the points paying positions, trying a 1-stop, I think, in that Ferrari car. So kudos to Vettel. But frankly, to be honest, all I care about is with 11 laps to go in this Grand Prix, we have a big gap to play with against Gasly. So 11 laps to go. I'm feeling very confident of this. first place. We move on to lap 27, 4 laps to go now in this Grand Prix. Nothing's really changed. It's still 1-2 for myself and Gasly there in the Sauber and Red Bull Honda, but now we're catching up to some blue flag cars there, so our pace has been pretty good, and so we're going to try and lap this McLaren, and I think that is a Haas or a Williams. I can't quite tell from up ahead, but these guys give me some dirty air in the last sector, so the gap is closing a bit. A very awkward way for that McLaren to let me by, but I can't quite tell. I'm going to guess maybe Brendan Hartley in the McLaren there, so he lets me by through the last corner. You've got the Williams car now up ahead of us, I think this is, and so we're going to have to try and lap him as well through turn 2. The blue flag's been up for about 3 corners, so I don't know why they haven't got my damn way right now, and so we're catching up to the Williams car. Gasly now has already passed the McLaren, I think, and now into this next right-hander. It's a massive amount of time lost there against the Williams. Absolute, just what on earth was that? Like, that was the most horrendous thing. I hope he gets a penalty for that, because if that happened in real life, that would be a slam dunk penalty for holding up the race leader by a good 3 seconds there, because Gasly now, like magic, on lap 28, 3 laps to go now in this Grand Prix, is right up our chuff in the mirrors, in the gearbox there, and so now we have to try and hold this through, but thankfully for me, I can breathe. We did hold it through. He's kept us honest, to be fair, so GG's Gasly, but we've held it through. It's a street circuit. You know how difficult it is to overtake here, and the Honda power just couldn't quite do it, and so on the last corner of the last lap, we come through to win the Singapore Grand Prix, the 3rd win of the season, and we do beat Gasly finally.
Superb driving. That's the race win.
Brilliant stuff from Sauber today. What a superb victory. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
An absolutely amazing episode for us and the championship. First place there, the 3rd win in Alfa Romeo Sauber there. Obviously, Gasly's got about 5 or 6 wins right now, but we are doing the best we can in this inferior car to try and keep on the fight of Gasly there. You can see the gap has closed. He's still got a bit of a comfortable lead by, you know, relative to how close the championship fights have been so far on this game. That is quite a big lead still in reality, but we've at least closed that, and we haven't made that even worse. So he didn't get 3 wins on the trot. We broke the streak. We maintained the lead in the constructors, which is still fantastic actually in reality. Renault up into P2 as Red Bull Verstappen did not finish in the points, so he did a bad job. Both Renaults finished quite high in the points, so Renault get back into 2nd, and it's a real close fight in the constructors, so that'll be a really good fight all the way to Abu Dhabi. A 3-pronged fight between Alfa Romeo Sauber, Renault and Red Bull Honda. That'll be a real good scrap to witness there, but the big fight for me obviously is against Gasly in an inferior car, and we're doing the best job we can. I'm so happy and proud of that drive at the Singapore Grand Prix. You know, like I said, I was down for the count as soon as Gasly overtook those 2 Mercedes cars on lap 1. So to pull it away, get that undercut, a miracle undercut, is absolutely amazing. I'm so happy with that. So guys, if you did enjoy the episode as well, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, do get subscribed for weekly full-on content. I've been Alfa. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.